Hey guys, it's Tara.
And it's Mackenzie, and welcome back to Talk More
More print.
Print. So, Tara, we have a very exciting special guest for this episode. This is our first time with a guest.
Yes, and we're very excited to share him with you guys.
Yeah, let's let him introduce himself, the man, the myth, the legend.
Thank you guys so much for having me. Hi, it's Drew. You guys know me. You guys love me.
We
Know me
do.
since freshman year. And now I'm here to tell my story.
We're very excited to hear it.
I'm so excited to tell it. Oh my goodness. It's just
So, I feel like we should start from the beginning. Um, as you obviously have a very interesting story, but what brought you to Ferris in the first place?
throughout high school, I kind of took some graphic design courses through our like DCTC consortium. So I was able to get that experience in the field. And when I was applying at colleges, my teacher, who like was one of the people in the consortium, she was like, I went to Ferris. They have a really good design program. I think you should totally look into it. Go and see kind of how you see what you like. Go do a tour of, the campus and everything. And then I did that and I fell in love with the campus and that's where I went. I applied, got in, and I mean, instantly fell in love with the campus. I really liked everything that they said that they were doing in the program, the design program, and just being able to learn more from it than just like making basic pictures in Illustrator was something I was ready to learn. So I'm like, what else can I learn with, like, what else can I be taught?
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of sounds a little similar to kind of our background of starting out in high school and then kind of getting mentored by a teacher and getting brought here, which I think is something that we all pretty much connected on immediately of
Yeah.
our background and falling in love with campus. And it just, I feel like for all of us, it felt like the right place.
No, it did. I wasn't sure if I didn't get into Ferris if I was going to go to college at all, so and that's coming from somebody who I had good grades in high school. It just was is it a good fit for me?
hmm Yeah. And I feel like that's also like if you don't find your spot, that's also, it makes it hard for a lot of people. But you obviously are not in design anymore, which
No.
we do know now. So I feel like you should kind of give us a little background of kind of your time in design, like how was that? And then kind of like you kind of got to us.
Well, after I graduated and coming into the design program, I did stay in it throughout my entire freshman and sophomore year, like years here. I guess my expectation versus the reality were very different from what I was expecting. Like my experience to go, I thought it was going to be a very smooth transition. We were going to be doing a lot of the same thing, just more like in depth. And it ended up being a little bit different, more focused on the design part. And like there's like rules that you have to follow. And we weren't really like taught those, or they weren't like hammered into our head in high school. Like you need to follow this, this, and this. So it's just a lot different, more software. And then we started getting into the UX, UI part of it, which is something I didn't even know was an option in the field. I had no knowledge. So like kind of going into it, I was just very like learning something new, which I'm always, trying to strive for and learn. But it wasn't really as much working in any Adobe software as much. It was a lot of coding and then working on like wireframes and Figma, so like that kind of stuff. And it was just very different and wasn't like the smooth transition that I was thinking we were going to be doing. Um,
Yeah,
and
it just
then
doesn't sound like it was like your vision of this is what I want to do. It kind
yeah,
of shifted.
no, it was definitely a lot different. And then I would like if I needed something printed, that's when I would come to you guys.
Yeah.
Or like I was kind of always a like presence in the print lab. So it's just like kind of that's how I kind of met everyone. And
Yeah,
then
I thought it was kind of funny too, because in our English class, I remember looking at your computer case and your stickers, and I was like, "Did you make those?" Because I was like, "I don't think you're in our program," but I was like, "Did you make those?" And you were like, "Oh yeah, I designed them."
oh my goodness, I forgot about those. No, I honestly truly forgot about those. They were, I think, like Dragon Ball
They were
ones.
Dragon Ball. They were
Yeah,
the Dragon
the
Ball.
the
Yeah.
vinyl ones. Yeah, I designed those and I had them on my computer case until it broke because they can never stay in one piece. But no, it's like that kind of stuff I always enjoyed. And then as I'm going through the program, we're not doing as much like fun stuff. It was more like the more business side, which I understand. Like that's how the program was. I guess I was just being expecting more a more creative space.
Right.
Instead, it kind of felt like,
A box.
yeah, I couldn't think outside of it. I couldn't be as creative as I wanted to. And then it just kind of was like, I'm not sure this is what I want to keep doing. I started losing the passion for it. And then had a couple of conversations with you guys in the print lab about my experience. And then you guys were like, switch,
Please,
please
Join us.
come.
join us, join the dark side. And I think that's probably one of the best decisions I've made. If I have any regrets, it's probably not going into this program right when I got here. Because when I first came, I didn't know there were two separate programs.
Yep.
I just knew it was design. So I'm like, okay, where can I go? And then that's where it was Pat and Nick, one of the design professors. I kind of asked some questions and then I was like, oh, I followed Nick that avenue and I should have followed Pat. So that's my only regret. But I will say I don't regret my time in design. I feel like I've learned a lot now and my work has definitely improved from like where it was in high school and even like my freshman, sophomore year of college. So like looking at it now and before, it's like the difference is night and day. And I feel like that's helped me a lot, even just in this program, being able to like produce something that I'm like proud of and like I can physically like hold and like feel and all
Yeah,
that
that's
fun stuff.
definitely what got me into it too, is I love that, being able to see my own product and, hold it.
Hmm.
The technical aspect I feel like is something that we all really like, of like the seeing, the feeling, the touching. It's just it's kind of the physical aspect of this is what I'm doing that I feel like is something that we all appreciate because we're in the industry, but it's something that I feel like a lot of people don't even realize. Like you're seeing, you're touching everything that gets printed.
Yeah.
And so like once you see it and your eyes have been opened, you can't like that's how you see everything in the
Yep.
world.
Yeah.
And that's one of our biggest points when we go recruiting too, is when we're like, yeah, your toothpaste bottle, like everything. It's just making
All
that connection. And then they're like, you can see it. They're like, oh,
mhm.
Especially like being a part of the entire process, like overseeing so like every like step of it, I think is something that like a lot of places you don't really like see that with, like especially in, like here, that's what I've kind of noticed where it's like you're the imposition part and then the printing, like even choosing what paper you want to do it on. Like
yeah.
there's so many aspects that go into it that you have like hands on, like you have like that control over where it's like other places, it's just kind of like after one point, it's just kind of like in someone else's hands where it's
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
I have more control.
It makes those connecting points of, oh, this is going to
Mhm.
affect that. And then you start thinking of it before you start the design.
Yeah.
And it really does help.
Well, because like the other thing that's really interesting about like our program specifically is we learn every single aspect of the industry, which is not something you get in a lot of programs where you could be, what do we always say at recruiting? There's like 65 different job titles or,
It's over 140 different job
okay, my
titles.
bad, guys. Really cut it in about half. My bad, my bad. Just double everything I say. Um, uh, but so like the complexity, the options, like you could do pretty much everything with our degree, which is one of the big things we sold Drew on.
Yeah, especially since you still kind of wanted to follow one of your passions of getting a mind. You wanted to focus on what, PR?
Mhm.
And so one of the big things I remember talking to you about was you can get it as a minor. You can come into our degree and get a minor. So if you wanted to talk a little bit more about that, why you're interested in PR and what you'd want to use your degree for.
Yeah. So when it was brought to my attention that I could have PR as a minor, it was something I didn't even think or consider. And when I kind of thought about it, I was like, it does kind of make sense because it's like being in graphic media management, that's more of like an internal hold on everything, where as in PR, it's a lot of external communication. So I feel like having that mindset of both, it kind of gives me a leg up on like a lot of places where it's like I have the knowledge for like internal, but also like external communications. If something were to happen, like if the company I work for, like some accident or something, like I'd be the like damage control, essentially trying to
Yeah.
like keep everything, settled, but also like being able to go to like conferences and like market myself, the company, or anything of that matter. Um, just having that control again was something that I thought would make me like really valuable just like in the workforce. Um, and even when I brought it up, a couple people like kind of raised an eyebrow, like that's not really a combination that you see,
It's
but it
not,
makes sense.
but it does. It's
So it's
actually
just like,
it was very interesting when you brought it up. I was like, it's never something that would have crossed my mind, but it does make a lot of sense. And I mean, knowing you, you'd be great at it. So
yeah, no,
Facts.
actual factual. No, no, it's just, and so like being in the courses, I'm kind of seeing where the dots kind of connect and like, okay, I think I made the right choice, make having this as a minor. Especially like there's so much stuff that goes into PR than just like being like crisis management or something like that. Like there's the social aspect of it, um, and kind of like dealing with the public relations. So it's like, how does like the public see you, or like how does like what makes a company run? It's the employees, like all of this stuff. So being able to have that, knowing it, and then going into like eventually, like
yeah.
and getting into like the working world, um, I'm able to see that everything and like having that experience. I know like this is probably how something should be run or it shouldn't, or it's just like, oh, if something were to happen, like I know like how I would be able to best handle the situation.
Right. Which will make you a very valuable employee one day. So
Fingers crossed.
when you go into the workforce after graduating, and that's what you want to use your degree for, do you know what kind of direction you're going for in the industry? What kind of company you want to work for?
I have an idea of where I want to go. It's just, I guess, the steps to get there. I'm gonna have to figure out. Eventually, being a project manager is something that I think would be really, um, is something that always is like interested me. When we for Print Excellence toured Arbor Oakland, and they were kind of talking about their program where it's every 6 months you're in a
Yeah.
new part. That was something that I kind of it like I really paid attention to it because I'm able to learn all aspects of it in like a certain time. So like working in different areas. And then that's where I can finally decide like, okay, is this where I want to go? Especially just because like just in my work ethic, I try to learn as much as I can so I can become that valuable person in the workforce. So it's like just learning one thing. It's like, yeah, I could be good at one thing, but if I could be good at multiple things too, just to like broaden my knowledge and my work, like my mindset and everything like that. That's something that I really try to strive for. So being able to learn all aspects that can make me valuable somewhere else. And then like especially having experience in design, PR, and then this, like I could go anywhere. So it's just kind of like
Yeah.
trying to be like an everyman, which I know sometimes can be like a detriment because it's like you're doing so much, like can you handle it all? But it's also like I'm just trying to set myself up for the future where it's like where I can end up anywhere, even if I do something not directly related to this or something like that. So,
Yeah, for
um,
sure. And I know there's a lot of companies that have programs like Arbor Oakland's, and even a lot of internships do that too.
Yeah, they do.
Because that's how we got a lot of good experience doing that at GPC, rotating through the different programs. So it's definitely out there, and people are looking for that. People want young interest who want to learn everything. So I don't
yes,
think you'll have any trouble finding something like that.
So, Drew, we're obviously very excited to have you in our program now. But what are you looking forward to like in the next few years? Like within like the program, what are you looking forward to? And then we kind of have an idea of what you want to do after you graduate, but like what are you excited for?
that's a really good question. Um,
That's our job.
Honestly, being able to, just because I've only been in the program for a semester, I've not really had a chance to meet everyone, have like full conversations. So being able to like meet everyone and kind of get closer to them is something that I'm really looking forward to. I'm a very people person, so I like meeting and talking to new people. Um, Going into this program, everyone kind of knew each other, so I was kind of like, it's like the new kid on the block sort of thing, like new student sort of thing. So it was just like
The designers are invading.
we're slowly taking over. Um, but no, so it's just like everyone kind of had like already like a sort of rapport and like a relationship, and I just kind of was like going in like I don't want to intrude on any of it, but having already known you two going into it, I felt a little bit better, and then especially like I knew a couple other people, Faith, Maggie, Emmeline's, like going in knowing them kind of really helped me because it was like, okay, I'm not going in completely blind.
Yeah.
I have somewhat of an idea of like who's in there. And then even the people I've met in the program so far, I think there's some amazing people. And I'm so excited to continue my journey with these people because it's just such a very warm and welcoming environment. It's just like in the lab, but just like not even just in the lab, but as a collective, like in the major.
Yeah, I'm hoping that you get to participate a bit more with GAA next year because that's a really good way to get to know
Yes. Oh my
people.
goodness. Joining it, I think, was so fun. Print excellence was an experience I don't think I'll ever forget. It was just so eye opening and just being able to meet all of these people again.
Guys, he got to tour his very first print company on this trip.
Oh my
It
goodness.
was like watching a kid in a candy store. It was so cute. I was like, this is like what we were like 2 years ago when
And that's how you know you're in the right place.
yes, literally. And it was so fun. And I was like, Drew, look at that. Look at that. I was like, if you have any questions, like just ask me. Like I'll be your little tour guide.
Oh, and I had questions. I had so many. Oh my goodness. I was just in awe. Everything that I was looking at, I was just like, this is what I'm doing. Like never would I have thought like this is what I'm gonna be doing in school or like even after. And it's just like you said it, like you said it, I know I made the right decision. This is where I kind of want to be. This is where I want to work, the environment I want to be in. Like that's something that I felt like I was missing.
It's very different to like hear about it and then to actually see a company working in their equipment and all their materials.
Yeah.
It's just so different.
Yeah, because I mean, we have like our limited amount of like our presses and our equipment. Like we only have so much. So when you go to these companies and you see the latest and greatest that they just replaced, or even their tried and true equipment that they use every single day that they've used for the last 20, 30 years, like that's something, I mean, we also don't have the space. We can't have stuff to that scale. So we're learning about that type of scale in theory, but we're not actually like producing that.
Yeah.
So seeing it is also really, I think, very important for all
Yeah.
of us.
Yeah.
Even so, like with the equipment you guys do have, you are still able to do so much that like I've not like been able to see somewhere else. So I think that's so cool. Like even just like the presses, the t-shirts, the cutters, like all of that stuff, like being able to get that like hands-on experience and like have sort of like I take responsibility, like I'm proud of this, like this is what I produce, like this is something that I did, even if it's just for us or if it's even something like a project for a club or the school, like knowing that like I was behind it is something I can get behind and be proud of. Like
Yeah.
that's something that I've kind of like anything I make, I want to be proud of it. I want to show it off. I want people to love it. So it's like just getting that experience is something I'm also really excited for. And even so, like with what you guys are able to do, like it's so amazing. But then seeing what these print shops can do, it's just like awe inspiring. I literally did feel like a kid in a candy store on my phone out taking pictures, like a
Yeah.
With permission, don't worry.
with permission, of course, not without permission. Like a grandma or grandpa at like a family function, they just take their phone out and just start taking pictures. Like that's just how it felt. It was just so exciting, and I wanted to document as much as I could because I wanted to show it off and like show people it's like this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm happy to be doing. Like
Yeah.
pretty
No,
excited
and
again. I'll think about it. Like
I
it's
think
just so awesome.
it's fun too that like we've gotten a lot of new equipment in this last year that we didn't have. And so we were excited to have it, but also from somebody who's coming from a design program and you're like have the knowledge of like, oh, if I'm printing with foil, this is kind of what I can do with my design. And whereas someone like me who's not really in design, it's like I want to use the foil, but I don't really know where to start with the foil. It's also been kind of fun to see too, because you took off right away with it with the varnishes and the clear and the white ink and
Some of that, well, some of it was Kenzie's help. She kind of helped me get it to where they like the best that it needed to be, but even still,
File setup is a big thing. Like
yeah,
that's something that we spend
for
so
sure.
much time on, and like that's not something that a lot of designers have that knowledge base for. You can design all day,
Yeah.
but then setting up the file,
but setting up the
if you can't
files
set
and
up correctly.
so it
And
can
see,
print,
setting up files is my forte.
like that's where I think you're going to be a powerhouse because you're going to have both.
Yeah.
That's another thing that I love with this program is everyone has some sort of knowledge that like someone else might not have, and it just bounces off of each other. So
Yeah.
like the environment again, like everyone working together, like it's a very cohesive, like we're working together, we have a say, and just the collaborative aspect of it is something that I didn't really feel before. And just like feeling it now, I'm just like, I know if like I need help with something, I know I can ask this person about this thing, or I can ask someone else, or like even working together on stuff is just like, it's welcome, it's opening. So it's like, that's something that I've like, yes.
It's so very collaborative too, because I mean, we're in the lab when we're not in class.
Yeah.
And we're just hanging out. We play cards, we play euchre a lot. I think we've talked about this too.
Probably.
Probably. But we'll play games in the lab like after like classes and stuff, little brain breaks. And so, but we are all hanging out there. So 90% of the time you're going to find somebody in the lab
Yeah.
unless like 3 a.m., which, we might be there, but most likely not.
That's another thing too. It feels like more than just like a major or a classroom. It feels like almost like a sort of home. Like you go and like that's where everyone that you're with is there like all the time. There's always going to be someone there. So it's just like,
It's very much a second home for
yeah,
me. And
Agreed.
being there for 3 years, I mean, I spent more time there than my own apartment. Like, my dorm, I was always in the lab, and it's just something that not a lot of other programs have, and it's so special, like, how close we all are, how close we are with our professors, and it's like, I could go to you guys for anything, whether it's class-related, outside, and if I'm designing and I'm like, "I need a second opinion here," like, there's 5 other people in the room, and they're all willing and ready to help. So,
Constructively.
yes.
yes.
We're not
Yes.
gonna break you down and say, this is awful. We're gonna
Maybe
build you
try
back up.
this and see how that looks.
Yeah.
But yeah, the collaboration's always been one of my favorite parts. I don't like to just work on a project myself. I'm very much a bounce ideas off people,
Mhm.
and I feel like your projects are better that way.
Mm-hmm.
So having that practice in our program is so important.
Oh, 100%. Because this is another thing that I've been told by a lot of people, that the interpersonal skills that like people coming into the workforce, that interpersonal skill is like something that they like top priority for a lot of companies when they're looking for new employees, and making sure that when the new workers coming in, they can work with any type of person. They can work on projects. It's not an issue. Like that, I think, is a big thing that people look for. And the fact that our program is fostering it, I think, is building us up in a very constructive way.
Yeah, even at like GPC, it was very rare that you and I worked on a project without each other or a
Yeah.
group of people to, and I can't imagine trying to do those projects like by ourselves.
I was gonna say, because our big end of year project, it was us two. We worked with Tom a lot. Like we went to every single department because
Yeah.
we had to work with everyone. I interviewed every sales person.
Yep.
Like it's that kind of skills that I feel like a lot of other programs aren't getting. They aren't getting that type of real world outside of just learning the content, but
No.
you're
Because
learning.
it's very much like a classroom setup. They go to class, they hear the lectures, and then they leave.
They leave, but us, it's real life skills that you can take away with you when you
Yeah.
leave this institution,
Yeah.
which is huge.
Yeah. That was almost something that like when you were talking about it, where it's like in the like program I was in, it very much was like it can be collaborative and but it didn't feel that way. It felt very much like just criticism, no constructive aspect towards it. So like sometimes that would kind of, like that might, have affected the mood or whatever, but it's not, understandable. It's a competitive field. But it did feel like a classroom. There were a lot of times where I felt like I was working on projects by myself, where even if I did ask for some sort of feedback, I just kind of, it almost was like raising eyebrow, like, why are you asking for this? You should know this. It's like, well, I'm asking because I want it to be the best that it can be. Yeah.
No, 100%. But the other thing I feel like we're also really excited is to take you to your first print show. Because we have told you that you have to obviously come with us to Florida for Printing United.
I am looking forward to it so much.
You have to. You're coming.
Like, if you thought the companies were a kid in a candy store,
Oh my
You're
God.
gonna put me on a leash.
No,
I'm so serious. I'm gonna. Oh my goodness.
You need to bring a half-empty suitcase,
Oh, I will.
please, because the print samples.
No, it's just like, and that's another thing too. It's just like being able to do those things, like go out
Yeah.
to like these different states, meet these companies.
the networking.
Oh,
networking.
that one's big too.
I'm so looking forward to. Like, there's still so much. It's like I've only been in the program for a little bit, so I've only dipped my toes in. I'm ready to fully jump in and like get into it. Yeah.
It's definitely my favorite part, for sure.
No, that's honestly so, because we meet some of the best people and everyone's so encouraging, so excited to see the next generation in the industry. And
They just want to help.
they just want to help, and they're so willing too. Like, it's not even oh my gosh, can you help me with this? It's please send me your resume. Let me help you. Let me do whatever I can to help you. I think that's also really cool. But do you want to play a game?
I do want to play a game. I love games.
So we had kind of done a tier list a couple episodes back of our favorite print samples, which I think you'll start getting that once you start going to print shows.
Okay.
But this episode, we're going to rank the Adobe Suite. You were warned about this.
I was, and I have it. I have my list.
Okay.
Am I going to get judged? Is this a judgment-free zone?
This is not Planet Fitness.
Okay. That's frightening.
But me and Tara collectively decided on our pyramid just to make it a little less confusing. We didn't want to do 3.
That's fair.
So
We're pretty similar about it anyways.
Yeah.
So it worked out.
It worked out. It worked out really good. So we have our pyramid and then you have your pyramid.
I do.
We're going to go same concept as last time, bottom to the top.
Okay.
So we're going to start at our number 6. And I'm really curious because Drew just made a face for those who are listening. And I'm really curious what his number 6 is.
I don't know. I think I might have to redo my entire list. I
No.
might have to redo the whole thing.
Why?
This is the
Mind
point.
you-
You have a different perspective than we do. That was the whole
The
point
whole-
of.
Because you come from a design background. But I would like to say, disclaimer, just because it's at the number 6 doesn't mean we don't like it. It just means we don't. There's so many Adobe
Mhm.
apps in the suite. So nothing. It's just what we personally like the most or use the most.
At number 6, I put Photoshop.
Oh.
Whoa.
Yeah,
That is
that is the
wild.
one that I use the least out of all of
Really?
them. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Now, ask me again in maybe 6 months when I'm more into the program. It might change.
It probably
It
will.
definitely
probably will.
I know it will, but it's just at the moment, it's the one that is opened the least.
That's crazy.
Like on my desktop,
that is
like
one of my most used.
on my desktop, that circle that's on the bottom, it's not there. Not opened it, not once. It's my least used.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Okay, we'll do our number 6. We'll go back and forth.
Okay.
So at our number 6, we have this I've only used very little. It's Fresco. It's a drawing. It's Adobe's like drawing app.
Would it be like Adobe's version of Procreate?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And I don't like it. Like Procreate is set up so much more user friendly, in my opinion. I have it on my iPad. I don't
Same.
love it. But
Seeing like with the fresco and the drawing, I honestly do a lot of my drawing just in Illustrator. So it's like if I'm gonna pick one, I just open up Illustrator.
yeah,
So it's like
Yeah.
Fresco is really built for like the iPad scene. But it's just its interface is not my favorite. But that's just me personally.
Okay.
Yeah.
I understand. I can see that.
Okay.
she got number 5.
Number 5, I have Lightroom.
Oh,
I
you
took-
put Photoshop then Lightroom.
I did.
I've never used Lightroom.
I've used Lightroom a little bit more than Photoshop. It's just better for getting like colors correct on photos, which I know Photoshop does, but it's more like
Oh, you'll learn how to do that.
Oh, you will.
I'm so excited. I'm so ready to learn because I need to start using Photoshop more. I know when I put Photoshop as 6, I know a lot of people probably just like cringed
Cried.
or cried. Yeah, probably all of the above. Scream.
It was definitely a shock.
Yeah, but Lightroom at 5 is just because I've used it a little bit more.
That's fair. That's fair.
But I honestly could like those two could be interchangeable for me.
All right, at number 5.
This might be a hot take too.
Yeah, we put InDesign.
Ooh,
I
where I put
see
InDesign.
InDesign and it's like a love-hate relationship. Because I like it for like the layout and like Kenzie and I, when we were talking about this earlier, it was like when you have a billion sheets and you just want to use that parent sheet and you can just copy and paste your layout. Other than that, like if I'm placing things into InDesign, I don't enjoy that. Usually if I'm doing that, it's in Illustrator.
Mm-hmm.
So
The only other thing we really use InDesign for is like VDP.
yeah. Which it's
Which
great for that.
I do enjoy.
Yeah.
But when I'm like designing, I design in Illustrator and I bring it into InDesign.
Bring it
Yeah.
into InDesign, so it's a
So
little lower on the totem
Mhm.
pole, but it's still a great tool. It's just not my favorite.
no. Okay, what's your number 4, Drew?
My number 4, I put Firefly.
We've never used
Yeah,
this.
never used
So Firefly is essentially it's an image generator. So it's an AI software. I know we do despise it. I had to use it a lot in the design program, especially for a lot of projects. We did use it a lot.
Wow,
We did
that's
use it a lot.
interesting.
Especially for like certain projects where for like designing, there was a project we did, we were designing an entire amusement park.
So in Firefly, you were making a whole amusement park?
So yes and no. Essentially, like if there was an image we needed of something, like let's say we're trying to think of like a roller coaster. So instead of using a like already like an image of one, we would just like say, can you create an image of a roller coaster that has like a spiral in it, and it'll create 4 different versions of that roller coaster. So essentially, it was just using it as a way to like it be its own thing, especially like if there was supposed to be a theme to it, because we did have kind of like a vaporwave aesthetic to it. So it was very 1980s bright neon. We wanted the pictures to match that. And that's essentially what it was used for. And I also use it weirdly in my English class because
Oh.
in my English class, we did use a lot of like AI and stuff.
Technical writing?
It was actually business writing.
That's interesting.
It was 325 business writing. And then it was like ask chat GPT like to create this. And then I was like,
Yeah.
sometimes my chat won't create images, or I'm only allowed like a limit of
A
3.
limit of so many a day.
Firefly, it's almost like you get an unlimited amount. And it creates 4 per
Right.
prompt.
No, that's interesting. I've never even heard of it actually until
me
we were
neither.
looking at the Creative Suite last night, and I was like, "What is Firefly?"
I would look into it just to see kind of like what it is.
Does?
Yeah,
That's
no,
why I
that's
kind of put it
interesting.
lower, because it is AI, so it's kind of losing
Yeah.
its like human aspect of it. But if you need just something as like a placeholder image
No, for sure.
that like looks somewhat, like
Valid.
decent, I would probably that's when I would go to.
So for our number 4, we put Photoshop. So where you had Photoshop at 6, we bumped it up a little bit. I mean, it's not top 3, but it is a little higher. Just because I use it all the time. I do so much photo editing.
She got it up this high, guys. I personally would put it lower.
I did. I bartered here.
You get it.
I do. I do. The thing is we use it a lot for our classes. So like I understand why it's so high because we do use it a lot. But
Yep.
I personally, like for like personal stuff, I don't use it very much. But she
Yeah,
uses it
I
all the
use it
time.
all the time. I edit a lot of photos. I take a lot of photos. I do some photography. So
Yep.
it's something
See,
that
that makes more
yeah,
sense.
that I
for me.
use.
I don't take photos like
Mhm.
that. If anything, it's just on my phone.
Yep.
And like that's
I
it.
also use it a lot in my design work when I want to remove a background. I
Yeah.
do use it a lot for that.
Honorable mention, I do have Photoshop Express on my phone, and that thing is incredible. It does all the photo editing I need.
I
Yeah.
think I'll have to hop on that train because some apps just don't work better. Like if they say they're supposed to. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
and also I
know.
don't want to pay premium.
Well, if you have Creative Suite, you get Photoshop Express for free.
I do.
Exactly.
I have the Creative Suite.
Exactly. You get it for free and you get all the premium stuff. It's great.
Premium.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yes.
All right, moving on.
Number 3, we're getting the
3.
top 3 here.
Number 3, I have Acrobat.
Okay.
Wow.
I do have
Okay.
Acrobat at 3. That is something that I've used a lot more this semester specifically. And oh my goodness, it's a game changer. I can
it is.
literally build documents.
Yeah.
I don't have to keep going into Illustrator, exporting it, and doing that over and over again. I can do it right in Acrobat. I can see the pre-flight. There's so many
Game
other
changer.
things that I can do.
No, we definitely take a class where you only use
We
Acrobat.
you
and
haven't
it's
taken that
I
yet.
haven't yet.
Oh,
such
you'll
a
have
good
fun.
class. You'll learn a lot about Acrobat.
It's crazy,
That's
honestly.
okay.
The way that I would have never guessed you could do so much in Acrobat until we took that class.
That's why, like, the more I'm in it, the more I'm learning, and I'm like, oh my goodness, why have I not been told of this software? Like, where has this been?
Yeah, my favorite thing to tell people is we have an entire semester long class on PDFs, and you're like, oh my God, that sounds so boring.
It
But
is.
And it's a little
It
boring.
is.
However,
But it's very
it
beneficial.
is the most important class I think I've taken
Yeah,
in my
100%.
whole time here.
Like, especially like I've heard stories from you guys about people bringing in PDFs that are not set up correctly, and I've tried to not be that person. I was
Right.
at one point.
Well, it's like, and you guys are just doing the designs, and you don't know like the print specs need to that you need to have that file printed. So that's
Right.
not fully on like you guys. So, it's just, and that's what's crazy to me too, is if you're preparing your files for print, but you're not learning the print needs,
Yeah.
then you're already set up for failure.
Yeah.
Our number 3 is something that I've recently gotten into. So I edit all of our podcasts. So thanks to our lovely producer, MJ, she gave me a amazing crash course in Audition, which is Adobe's like the audio editing software.
Oh.
Which, so I convinced her to make it number 3 because it's actually so incredible. Like, it actually breakdowns really easily. It's very user friendly, and
Okay.
I use it to edit the podcast. So I feel like it's not right to not have it in our
Okay.
top 3.
No, I really like that. I didn't even know Audition was a thing, so I'm learning something new, and I might have to look into it, especially with like audio editing. Now, can you record in it as well, or is it just
Yes.
an audio? Okay,
Yes.
that is very good to know.
So now we're getting our top
Right,
2.
Okay, I did switch them, and I'm kind of glad I did.
You switched them when? Are you cheating here?
I am not cheating.
Okay.
No, I did. I looked at. I made it last night, and then I switched it this morning. I did this morning
Before.
getting here.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
At number 2, I put InDesign,
Okay.
Wow.
and I know you guys put it a lot lower than I did.
Yeah. It's okay, though.
That is one that I use weirdly. Okay, weirdly, I use it the most, but it's not my number 1.
No,
Oh.
I get that. I a lot of places where I've worked, when they do their design work, it's in InDesign. I know people who only ever use InDesign, and when I was in my tech center, we used a lot of InDesign.
Same.
It's just, I use it a lot. It's just not my favorite.
Yeah, it's especially like a lot of the stuff that I've done. It's like almost like I literally like it because then it's like I have the parent page. I keep it as a template, and then I just like edit it however I need
Yep,
to. And it's again,
100%.
it's just one that I use the most. So it's just like weirdly not my number 1 though.
Well, our number 2 was mentioned earlier,
Mhm.
and it's almost like there's an entire class on it.
Yeah.
Really?
Our number 2 is Acrobat.
Oh my goodness.
Same reasons as before. We use it so much. It's amazing. It has a lot of tools, and it's probably outside of our number 1, probably what I use the most.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, easy to use. It's so easy to use. And once you learn like all the things you can do with it, it's so versatile.
100%. Well, process of elimination here. I'm pretty sure we all have the same number 1.
I can confirm we do.
So, Drew, I'm going to give you the honors. What is our collective number 1?
Our number 1 is Illustrator.
Woo!
I love Illustrator. That is honestly what helped me get into Adobe
100%.
and design, just because of the stuff that I was able to do with it. And then the stuff that I'm still learning from it, I'm just like, please teach me all the stuff, the image trace, the drawing, everything. I've done so much in there. Like so much of my work, if you look at it, you can tell it was done in Illustrator, but it's also like, you did that in Illustrator? Like,
Yeah.
yes.
I have a very important question. What space do you work in Illustrator? Top right bar. What does it say? Like, you know, it says like essentials and like all the options. What space do you work in? Do you know? The top of your head?
Honestly, no. I haven't used it in a while. Honestly, truly, I haven't. Isn't it the
What, there's advanced, general.
There's essentials, there's like essential typography. I personally use printing and proofing. I like the setup of it so much.
Okay, mine is definitely not like that. I think mine is either the essentials or advanced.
I think mine's usually advanced.
Okay. My tech
Again,
center,
give it 6 months. It might change.
well, my tech center teacher told me to use printing and proofing just because that's like a lot of the tools that we use.
And see, that's where ours is different. We weren't doing
Yeah.
a lot of the printing or proofing. It was a lot of the design, like just the essentials or advanced. Like that's
Right.
where.
Well, and I go back and forth. Like if I'm doing personal projects, I'll go into advanced. But sometimes for like our projects, I would be in printing and proofing.
Yeah, I just like that one because it has like all the rulers and it has like all of that stuff. My layers are set up the way I want it to like do color adjustments and stuff like that. So that's what. But it's very interesting to see like what workspace everyone works in because it very much changes how Illustrator is set up.
Yes, 100%. Because there are times I've logged into computers where it's like under mine, but it's set up differently, and I'm like, whoa, this is so different. But then I'm
Yeah.
like, wait, this makes so much more sense. Does take a second to get used to because obviously like mine's set up differently, but still in the same
Yeah.
like, you know, in the same way, it's like interesting where it's like it's probably better if I do have it set up this way. So
Yeah.
yeah,
The more you know.
All right, guys, this is all we've got for this episode.
Thank you so much, Drew, for coming on the episode.
thank you guys so much for having me. I think this was such an awesome experience being able to talk with you guys and just like being here in the Talk More Print studio. It's so amazing, so awesome. You guys are two of the greats.
Oh,
Love you.
love you
Love you
too,
too.
Drew. Okay, so make sure to subscribe, leave any comments of what you want to see. Tell us how our first guest episode went.
I'm Tara.
And I'm Mackenzie.
I'm Drew.
And we'll see you next time on
Talk More Print.